Uber, Bitcoin, self-driving cars. Combine those three together, and you have the self-owning taxi. A car that is a corporation that owns itself, pays for the car lease, the car insurance, and the gasoline from the revenues it makes, giving passengers a ride, and there's not a single human involved in that matter.
In crypto writ large, it's the most important technology out there to update the financial system, right? We've seen that 67% of Americans think that the financial system is in need of a major update. Crypto is the best opportunity to do that. So yes, we're going to have decentralized cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin. We're going to have things like Ethereum that are building new application platforms on top that are totally decentralized. But if we need to get people, sometimes you have to meet people where they are, right? And so if they want to use US dollars for now, that's great. We have now US dollars running on crypto rails that are more efficient, more global. They allow you to do cross-border transactions or send small amounts to people no matter what country they're in. So these things are all going to help the crypto ecosystem grow and get to that decentralized vision.
I think you put out a tweet recently. I really liked it. You said bear markets are the best time for building. So what else are you building at Coinbase?
Yeah.
What should an investor expect to come up on the platform a year from now?
Yeah, well, I don't want to pre-announce anything here, but a couple big ones we've talked about recently. So we launched Base, which is our layer 2 solution that's helping blockchains scale. We need to get the costs down, the confirmation times down to be really competitive. And payments flow to the path of least resistance. The less friction you can make, the more payments there will be. We've also been investing a lot in our derivatives platform. So I mentioned that internationally, both and then in the U.S. as well. So we'll keep pushing on a few of those. I also put out a blog post talking about some of the future ideas on the horizon, and a number of our venture investments might go into things like that. But I talked about Flatcoins, which is kind of the next iteration of stable coins that's more maybe linked to CPI or purchasing power. I talked about
Flatcoin.
Yeah, Flatcoin is.
Where is that? Is that just only now developing? I've never heard of Flatcoin.
Yeah, it's a new thing on the horizon. There's a couple teams working on it. We're not building something in that realm yet, but we're interested in it. And how could decentralized reputation protocols work? Or in online games, people now want to own their in-game items, and how could network states be governed? And so there's lots of cool ideas. I put out a blog post and tweet about that too.
The third way we think CBDC can improve financial inclusion is through what we call programmability. That is, CBDC can allow government agencies and private sector players to program, to create smart contracts, to allow targeted policy functions. For example, welfare payment. For example, consumption coupon. For example, food stamp. By programming CBDC, those money can be precisely targeted for what kind of people can own and what kind of use this money can be utilized. For example, for food. So this potential programmability can help government agencies to precisely target their support to those people who need support.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Support this great content by hitting the cash app and by joining the Patreon.
And guys, we have Brian Armstrong again talking about the Fourth Industrial Revolution. Without saying Fourth Industrial Revolution. Flatcoin, decentralized reputation, and then gaming. And guys, decentralized reputation is nothing but social credit. For businesses, that's fine, but eventually it's going to roll over to the people. And we know even when it comes to a business, sometimes it's not correct, because most people who have a great experience don't leave a score. People with a bad experience normally leave scores. Of course, when it comes to the consumer and food, that's a little different. But social credit and universal basic income is right around the corner. And it doesn't matter whether it's a stable coin or flat coin, they're going to be airdropping free money to the people so they can sit at home and do nothing. We've already seen the test while the machines take over the economy. And again, we have the global leader on CNBC playing the Hegelian dialectic. We know he knows all about the Fourth Industrial Revolution. Interviewing David Marcus about Bitcoin Lightning and making a payment system interoperable. And we know the Fed, the BIS, the IMF, they are all on the same page. And that's the reason why these small and medium-sized banks are not going to make it in the new banking model. Fast and close to free payments, freeing up trillions and trillions of dollars of liquidity. Remember, guys, crypto means hidden message, hidden meaning. They're not for you. They're for the machines. And remember, the crypto teacher told you, because he knows when it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
The young global shapers, that's really been the transformation. I mean, I'm a young global leader. Right. So are you.
Yep. You're working on a new project. I shouldn't even say a new project, but a project around the Lightning Network, which is aimed at basically taking Bitcoin. You can explain it better than I can. Effectively, you take it off chain and then put it back on chain to make these transactions faster.
Yes, actually what we're trying to do is turn Bitcoin into a real payment, global payment network, because we have many tourists walking right outside of the studio right now. If you were to stop one of them and wanting to communicate with them, you could ask them for an email address and you can email them easily the next minute. You could text them, you could add them to a group video chat, you can do all of these things. But if you were to send them money, if they were not a U.S. citizen here in the U.S. using one of the same fintech apps you're using, then you wouldn't be able to do that. And so we're still in the fax era of global payments, and that's what we're attempting to solve.
Right. Well, why is that so important, by the way? Because the truth is, I can use Venmo. I mean, others can use services that are connected to each other. Why is that such a terrible answer?
So let's double click on that for a second. So you can use Venmo, but if someone is not using Venmo or is an international tourist walking right outside right now,
but right now, if I have an iPhone and I want to message somebody, I mean, if I don't have WhatsApp and somebody wants to WhatsApp me, they have to get the WhatsApp app.
But you have text, which is universal, where you can actually communicate and reach out to anyone you want in the world with one simple addressing scheme, which is a phone number, which is human readable. And you can't do that with money. There's no universal protocol for money on the internet that actually enables value to be transported through the internet. So if you were to want to send money to one of these people, you would probably need to ask them for a bank account number. The bank account number would be in different format depending on where you are in the world. You would have to actually physically walk to a branch and pay $50 to do an international wire. And if it's after Friday, 5 p.m., tough luck.
And how big a business is that?
It's ginormous, right? It's trillions of dollars of transactions that transit through SWIFT and other payment networks.
Well, let me ask you a separate question, which is around Bitcoin. We've watched the valuation of Bitcoin sort of sit around $25,000, $26,000. We've all been questioning, so where does this go? And does Bitcoin ever really become a currency, which is what you talk about it becoming? Do you think the value of Bitcoin needs to or can move up if it's actually a currency? Meaning, I've always made the argument the currency problem is if you think Bitcoin is going $30 or $50 or $60,000, there's no way I'm going to spend it on a pizza or on anything, frankly. If I think it's going to go down, by the way, I might spend it immediately.
So our view is actually that Bitcoin is not the currency that people will use to buy things, but a fragment of a Bitcoin on top of Lightning is like a small data packet on the internet, only for value. And so you can exchange at the edges of the network and send dollars to someone that will receive Japanese yen on the other side, or send dollars to someone who will receive euros on the other side. And the actual net settlement layer that is used is basically Bitcoin, Lightning, and it settles in real time, cash final, and at a very, very low cost.
Going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is, it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of the huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we could have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Cryptoteacher and the New World Order book, plus the 3 kids books. It's time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get home stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing, they were still getting that free money. What are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Drama Team save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Drama Team save New York. From COVID Stories 3. Part 3. King Joshua and Drama Team goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.